Good afternoon. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth matters. You can find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, Abundant Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the podcast, the Newscasters.com. There you're going to find all kinds of fantastic talk show hosts, people who speak the truth, are not afraid to do it, unvarnished, all the way natural. It's Matter of fact, one of them is right here. Her name is Victoria Lee Scott. Oh, before I forget, you can find us on the radio at icradio.media, where we're a brand new Fox News affiliates. Victoria Lee Scott, whatever you say, you can take it to the bank. And I appreciate that.
I tell you, it's always a pleasure to be with you, because much of what this country needs is they need a good dose of truth. No matter what it is. I mean, I love when you do your sports, when you do your traffic, everything you're bringing. Do you know what I'm saying? We're bringing knowledge in order to bring people together. And that's what's so good. Even with the news, it's growing. People are understanding that this is about, not this one or that one. This is about finding your own voice. And I've come to find out in building the Newscasters. Sorry, I'm on the beach. Summertime. That's a common sound, unfortunately, here on the beach. But and the idea was to take so many people, and I noticed, you and I have been doing this a while, and people had to go to so many different places to gather information. And we saw what was happening. We saw how propaganda started playing and advertising started changing and AI. So it was very interesting that I was led to build a company to unite strong voices. Because I truly believe that our generation, if we do not stand up now and teach what we know, it is going to be so much harder for those that come after us. And that's not fair, because you and I have seen the best that this world has to offer. We really, really have. I feel so grateful at any time in history that I could have spent. And this is the place that the Lord chose to put me. So my job is to be the most effective that I can. And I've paid the price through a very hard life by a lot of my own choice, don't get me wrong. But I needed to go to certain distances, and that's what I wish everybody else would go, because those distances allowed me to become the strong individual I am. When people are just paved the way, and that's why I think we have a bunch of angry people getting older, because I think that they didn't earn their way, and now they're sitting there wondering, there's nothing else. You can't use anything else. You know what I'm saying? When we hit a certain age, you better be who you are, because everything else is a fringe benefit as far as I'm concerned at this age.
No, I mean, if you're not you, if you're not what God designed you to be, you're a fake.
I know, but the problem
is.
But the problem is we have a generation, your generation and my generation got to experience, take down this wall, number one. We got to experience a Black president, not once, not twice, Black Supreme Court justices. We actually watched racism be dismantled in our lifetime. Let's really be honest. We have. There isn't anything that they can't do now that you tell me what a Black person that I can do as a white person that a Black person can't do right now. Mm-hmm. We really did that. And it is lack of knowledge, lack of us sharing the wisdom that we've experienced that has led to a generation of instant gratification, has led for them to try to find their identity through something. And I tell everybody, them, you know what? If you really want to be the best who you can be, sit with yourself. You don't have to write it. You don't have to speak it. You don't have to tell another human soul. But as far as I'm concerned, ask yourself the major issues, how you feel, and sit there long enough to answer it. And every time you answer one of those questions, you become a stronger voice for yourself. And once we become strong individuals, then is when we unite together. Because if we do it out of sync, we just have a mob mentality, as far as I'm concerned. And that's what happens. It's shown time and time again.
Well, the whole idea is to divide everybody. Because within division, if you can separate everybody, you're right. You'll conquer what you thought you couldn't conquer. And so that's the whole idea, is to keep us all at each other's throats. That's all Facebook is. I have people that I've been friends with for a long time, and first of all, whatever you put on your Facebook page is your business. I'm not going to get on your page and tell you what my thoughts are about it. I'm just not going to do that. People need to respect. We have a lack of respect for people. Lack of respect.
100. Well, that's probably one of these biggest problems, and the lack of respect starts in the home. And I'm going to go back to that because this week, another awakening within my group of friends. And our children now, we've been friends since they all started kindergarten, and now they're 27 and 28 and hitting their 30s now. And all of a sudden, these children, these young adults are using language that I find unacceptable. And I am so disappointed. And not only do my friends allow these children to use language in conversation, but then I've come to find out that the reason why is because behind closed doors or wherever in cars, they use that language to them. And that to me was like because when I heard one of my closest friends having, with her 27, and then she was in the heat of it. So she was explaining to me what she was saying. Then I was really like, it was a ding ding to our problem. I have sat in my own salon and have corrected young high school men with their mothers sitting there using a word, and I stopped them and say, find a better word. Find a better word. And second of all, why are you using this word in front of your mother? And well, she uses it. And I'm like, that, you know what I'm saying? That lack of respect. I mean, my daughter to this day, I am telling you, I was a very hands-on mom because her life was very precious to me. It was the only one that I was ever going to get was my little girl, and that was it. At the age I got her, and then through her illness. But I'll tell you something, to this day, if I go like this, my daughter will stand in front of me, hands at her side, look me up in the eye and say, yes, mommy, to this day. Because respect is important, and we have lost that in the home, and therefore we bring other people, we remarry, nothing ever gets resolved, the resentment, the anger, all of that stays, and it festers and it grows, and then we wind up and we're wondering why the society has taken the turn that it has. And social media was just the next big outlet. I mean, we had our phones, and how many cords did we stretch out from room to room? My father would go nuts. I'd be in the closet and that cord go across the kitchen and almost hang himself. He wasn't happy. But
this is the thing about it, though. It starts at home. We know that. Yeah. But now also the government used it. When people were running for office to just gag the other fella who was running opposite of them. There was a time, now people are always going to rattle on each other. They're always going to do that. That's been going on since the beginning of time with Cain and Abel. It was going on then. But I'm talking about being on national television, saying the same things they were saying, just utter lies, knowing it's a lying. It started almost like a wind fire with Obama. Because Obama, what was he doing? He was talking down his opponent like crazy because he knew he could, because he was a black man. His opponent was a white man. Well, the white man was afraid to say anything.
He was the match. He was the match that led it. And that's what Lawrence and I, before he passed away, it was very important that he wrote Our Country's Political Truth, because at that time, nobody was paying attention to what was going on during the Obama years. They just thought everything was great, and we're getting new health care. If I had one more person, sit there and, Obamacare work for you, well, great. Now you just had my insurance company close down and take my insurance that I've been paying for my sick child for all these years. And now you're telling me you want me to go where, to who, to pay how much?
That's how that, and
I'm not the only one. My point is but what we didn't do is we just kept throwing people out there and having them to adapt and overcome to all of this. Lawrence knew, and that's why when he had his cancer and I took care of him for the last 6 years of his life, I made sure before he passed away he was a published author because of what he was sharing. If people want to know how we got here, his book tells us how we got here. Starting from the Obamacare, the 2,700-page bill that everybody just sat down because all their little piece of the pie was in there. So they all sat down and shut up and let it happen. Where if you were a real Republican at that time, you would have stood up, you would have dropped the bill on the floor and exited stage left. But nobody did, only because they had the dirty little fingers in the pie. And the problem being, just like the Roman Empire, I don't know how many times I can express this to people, Donna. What happened is they had the Colosseum and the betting and the Christians and the lions and the circuses and yada, yada. We can see the Colosseums. They're there. We know what they were built for. And what do we have? We have American Idol. We have concert. Do you know how much you do the sports? Do you know how much money was spent last year on Americans going to sports events?
Ridiculous. But people won't pay feed their kids, but now they'll go on ahead and pay several $100s to go to a ball game.
I am blown away at priorities. I have clients that are going everywhere, flying here. Oh, it's only $50, only $90, and flying here and there, and then their car insurance is not paid. They have no health insurance. And it's like you're in credit card debt. Look at the credit card debt in this country, because nobody's taking responsibility, and that's what the newscast is about. People like you and me saying, you know what? I'm tired of cleaning up your stuff. Handle your own scandal. You want to go and scandal? Go and do. But you know what? Go and do with those that want to do that. But there are those of us that don't want to do that. Mm-hmm. And that's where we have to learn to stand as strong as they did. The one thing that the other side was very, very good at was parroting the same thing together. Uh-huh. Parroting. How many times have you ever seen the parodies when you see the newscasters and everyone is, good evening, and tonight we'll talk about, and good evening, tonight, word for word, not just one or two. I'm talking about all across the board. So my point is that it's very important during this time that people like you and I take a stance and say, you know what, even if what you do sports, I would love to have a sports channel for people just, that's what guys, and something, it's about bringing good things together, and good companies and good people wanting good information. I am tired of people sifting through, and now what's happening is there is so much garbage on our phones that I am watching my clients, Donna, with their phones. They would rather, I have no patience for games on a phone.
How many couples do you see on date night at a restaurant? They're on date night at a restaurant. Okay.
Oh, well, let me tell you something. How many times have you seen me post? Yeah. Well, it's so interesting because it was funny this weekend. There was we were out on the boat, a bunch of us, right, on Morgan's boat for the weekend, the big boat. Next to us was another boat that had a really big party going on, really big. And it was so funny because somebody went, come here. And we went around and went to the front of the boat, and we're looking, and I'm looking. And here is a party, and every person was like this. Mm-hmm. And I was like, because my boat is big, so it was like I could be up on the top and see the gathering. Mm-hmm. But I was floored. I was really, 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 really floored. And now what they're doing is to really stay isolated. It's called Secret Service. I don't know if you've seen it, but I've had pictures of me with it on when I work the events. The headset and the music is in your own headset. And there's no sound in the room. But everybody's jamming to the same music as if they're it's crazy. It's crazy. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So how much more disconnected? And that's what's frightening to me. And you know what? I have the guy I talked to this morning who was 2012, ran for president on independent, he ran. And I had him talking to him, and he fixes companies and yada, yada, yada. So in asking him, and I'm like, I know what, you've explained to me what you go in and how you rebuild and what happens to human behavior. And I went through all that with him. But I turned around to him and I said, well, let me ask you a question. You're sitting here and that's what you do, trying to save all these people and everything. I said, but what we're not looking at is this. What happens if the grid goes down? Those people that you're sitting, that we have no tools. We have given the generation no tools to work with. They don't even know where their local anything is. So as far as I'm concerned, what needs to be is information and knowledge. Because like the Roman Empire, let's go back to that. They had the Colosseums and they were betting and they all made money, yada, yada. They lived a high life. But we have the same thing. You've got American Idol. Everything is to distract the mind and the masses while the bad guys come in and, I don't know, maybe fundamentally transform America. And that's just what they're doing. When is this country going to realize
they're robbing us.
The fundamental transformation?
And that's exactly, I mean, and really the elitist, the Democrats, the establishment from the Democrats and the Republicans, they all said that's what they were going to do. Daddy Bush kept talking about this new world order, and this was in the 1980s. That's why I didn't vote for him. I didn't want Clinton, and I didn't like Daddy Bush either, so I voted for Ross Perot. I know I threw my vote away, but I can live with it. I mean, I could, because that man out, and he's a Republican now, out of his mouth kept, go back, go to YouTube. You'll find all this stuff where Daddy
I remember it well.
New World Order. Well, what does the New World Order mean?
Right.
And then they reformed the New World Order.
And then they reformed it by the time Obama got there, and that's the New World Order became the fundamental transformation, which seemed very much nice. They went like, come on, let's face it, a used car dealer? No, I'm a pre-owned sales car vehicle. I'm pre-owned vehicles. It's not a used car anymore. It's a pre-owned. And that's how they take over, Donna, because you know what? 10 years ago, I did a radio show on how they are not changing the words in the dictionary. They are changing the words in the encyclopedia. And that's what they did. So when we, the American people, challenge them in the courts and we pull out the encyclopedia for definitions, guess what? They changed them. And that's exactly what has happened. So unless you and I and people like us that have some sort of responsibility to standing every day and placing our hand over our heart because we are so grateful for this country, unless we come together and start showing what this is about, we are just going to watch what's happening and we are able to see not the big heavy hammer. That's not what they do. They chip away. And if people want to really see how far they're ready to chip away, take a look at what's coming at us. Between AWOLs, who I choose to call him Mr. AWOLs, all right, and her. I mean, are you kidding me? How can people possibly sit here with a straight face and tell me that you think she's a good choice to earn your vote? Because
I can't think of a worse choice ever.
I know, but the problem is there are so many people that are just blinded, Donna.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Okay, so many people, I mean, I'm talking about people in my town. There are so many people, it's not just California and New York, it's right here too, who they say, we're in a good economy right now. Who is in a good economy? I want to know who. I mean, all I can hear is people are talking about how much more their groceries are. They're having to choose between medicine and food. I mean, this is not a good economy in my mind, even though I raise most of our food.
Well, the only reason the people that you're hearing that from about the good economy, they're the ones watching the green on the stock market. And I'm telling you, until this country gets a dose of something to wake them up, you keep throwing green up there every day on that stock market and it's growing. They don't care, and that's just what this administration wants.
No, these are people who have no stock. These are people that work for a living and they don't have enough money to have stock. most of them, their land has
Well,
been
how can they
handed to.
possibly, are they making enough money that they just have money to burn? Because I know I used to get one bag full advance, $35, and now I'm over $100 in one bag. I told my shopper I'm bringing 2 bags because I need to walk out feeling at least I have 2 bags of groceries, not all in one. I mean, serious? $35 to $100? I'm one person. I mean,
And that's not
absurd.
counting fuel. That's not counting the fuel. That's not. I'm talking about the price of everything has just zoomed.
I know, but the thing is, I live in an area that I am watching people in these restaurants. I don't eat out. I go to the market, I spend my money, and I cook at home. Okay, that's me.
Yeah.
I am floored on what people are paying in a restaurant. Floored. My 2 hairdressers yesterday wound up getting French toast, which came with 2 pieces of bacon and an egg, and a croissant with an egg. Nothing else. $37. $37. I looked at my girl. Are you insane?
How can you afford to do that? I mean, this is how cheap I've always been. Okay, anywhere I've worked, I always brown bagged it because I didn't want to spend all of my money eating out.
That's what I do. As a bodybuilder.
So I would, and there are people who still eat out every single meal. How do you afford it?
I don't know.
And how can you? After doing that, how can you possibly say we're in a good economy?
I went next door to the breakfast place and I ordered oatmeal to take out. I got a cup of oatmeal this size. No brown sugar, no granola, no fruit. And she wanted me to pay her $8. I looked at her and I said, have yourself a good breakfast. And I walked out the door. I am not paying. That to me is like, are you serious? For a bowl of oatmeal, you're going to charge me $8? And I own the business next to yours. You would really be smart to make friends with me. So I would send my clients over here when they tell me, you've got 4 other restaurants. You've got the Green Olive over here. You've got the other one over here, the vegan place here, and you've got your breakfast place here. Are you kidding me? And a donut place next to me. The best thing, what you should have done is you should have said, girl, have a good breakfast, and did it the other way. Because I would send my people here. Now, I'm not going to send my clients who are asking me about their hair to go over there and pay $8 for an oatmeal. The last time I did that, my guy came back and yelled at me and told him I sent him to a place that had a $27 hamburger, and he was furious. Don't send me there. $27 for a hamburger. And I'm like, I'm sorry. They just told me it was a good burger.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here's the way I look at things. Okay. So you have Dairy Queen there. Okay, so we used to love the Blizzard. I mean, Phil and I, it was a treat. We just loved we always got the pecan cluster Blizzard. So we go to, and I knew things had went up, but I didn't know it went up that much. So it was like, and I always get the small one, because they're really rich. You can't eat all that. So, and Phil usually go with the medium or whatever, And it came to like almost $20. And I'm thinking, did they get our order mixed up or something? And so she suggested we get, so get this. Okay, so they did have a small, medium, and a large. Now, for the people like me who don't want to spend all that money, they've added a mini. So now had you rather have the mini, which is probably the equivalent of 2 bites. So I can either get the mini, which is what I used to pay for a medium for. You know what I mean? And actually a little bit more. And I'm just like, and I'm not going to tell anybody. I would rather go get go to Aldi's and get their store brand of this ice cream. I'd rather get that because you can get it for like $4, and then look at all the meals you can get off of that.
I even bought 8 hot dogs this week. Normally, I pay $4.95 for a package of 8 hot dogs. $7.94 this week. How do you go from $4.97 to $7.94 in a week? And I buy the same package every week.
Okay, now this is what Kamala, Laughing Kamala, Copycat Kamala, whatever you want to call her. Okay, so this is what she says. She says it's the fault of Donald Trump and the past administration is why we're having to go to this, why we're having to pay more. She's in office now. Okay, now she keeps talking about what I'm gonna do. this sounds
I
like
knew this and
man
I
or
knew
woman in a
that.
relationship. Okay, what I'm going to do, well, she's in office now. Why aren't you doing it now? I'd be showing my stuff. I'd be, look, I could be the first woman president. I'm going to show right now what I can do. You know,
100%.
you'll vote for me because I'm doing it now.
But
She's never
everything
gonna
is
do
a
it.
lie, Donna. Everything is a lie.
She's not
If
gonna do
one more person throws up that HR whatever and labels Trump, that's not you know what I'm saying? And they take it and they keep running with it. And it's just infuriating to me. I have to turn the channel at times because it's just like I just can't listen to the lies. I really want to sit here, but I know your enemy is really how I run. I'd rather know what they're doing than to just not. But there are times I am so twisted. Like, how do we get to this point? This isn't even truth. And even if you do fact check them, it still goes unrecognized. It doesn't matter. A fact check doesn't even matter anymore. So what good is that? But it doesn't. Do you agree? They're not even recognizing.
Right. No. I mean, and then you'll have the people who will argue the fact with you. And I have had to ask, where do you live? I want to live in that land you're in, because you have a good economy. You're apparently not on planet Earth, because I mean, on planet Earth, it's getting pretty rough around here. There is okay. So I just had a guy with me who's at a college, and he's talking about how young people going to college, that number went way down. So I asked him a question. I said, well, is it due to finances? Because I know the cost of going to college is higher. Or could it be parents don't like the way college students are being allowed to act in college? Which is it? He said it's both. It's both.
But now listen to this one. Here's another little interesting fact. So in my chair this week, I have a new client, 27 years old. And I start talking to him. So what brings you to Southern California? You know, what are you doing? School? Fill me in. Well, he came down from Northern California to Southern California because he went all through school and was given all these big dreams. Silicon Valley just took his job. They just took him and the rest of them and booted them all. Mm-hmm. So here he's getting his first dose. Remember, this is a generation, and this is one of my big concerns, that they all got a trophy. Remember that. They got participation points. And some of them really went to school and did the right thing and went out into the world and got themselves a good job. But now they're watching how Silicon Valley and the tech industry, it will just rape the crap out of you and toss you aside in plain English. And that's just what they did to this 27-year-old. And now he has no idea, I mean, he's looking, the reason he came to me for the haircut was because he's had a second video job interview, and he had the phone one, and this one was Zoom. So he wanted to look good. But it's real interesting starting to see that we raised a generation thinking that, their first job, they're going to earn $60,000 to $100,000 and their whole life is set before them. And, they're just the prize. And then they get out there in the world, and then, how many of them, and that was my point with talking with that guy this morning. So what do you do? What do you do on a mass scale when this generation is handed something like that on a mass scale? That's what we should be looking at. What are we going to do with these young people that do not have the skills to even take care of themselves? How many people are going back home? And how many people, even my daughter left her apartment to move in with 3 girls in a house. So now they got a house with a backyard, but she doesn't have her own little apartment anymore. But she knew she had to make a change. But I'm wondering, excuse me, I'm wondering how much of the next failed generation is going to suffer.
Okay, now remember during the Dark Depression. Okay, so there was a depression. People in New York, young people, were jumping off buildings. Okay, you remember that? Yes. I'm afraid that's what we're in store for. There's going to be like a mass suicide thing happening because they've not been taught to deal with issues. It's just like mommy and daddy are going to take care of it for you. Okay, you get a trophy, little Johnny, even though you were the last one to run the race. You finished last. But no, we're going to give you a trophy too. And also, little Johnny, you think you're a girl, so we're going to let you compete with the girls' sports. This is ruining people.
Right. But the thing is what's really scary to me is I want to start thinking of how I'm going to counter it because it's not going to stop. That's my point. And everybody, this guy telling me, well, it's just behaviors and you got to change this. And I'm like, no, you don't understand that we have a generation here. Your generation, like I said, and my generation fought against segregation. We have a generation that has been, this is normalized to them. Socialism and all of this, and this came from people who believe that government is their God. Mm-hmm. And that's it. And we took our eye off the ball. Everybody was too busy gathering all the things and building bigger houses and going on more vacations and getting real designer clothes and purses and shoes rather than investing and paying for nannies rather than investing. Mm-hmm. And I know it, and I can speak like this. You know why? Because I was room mom, I was class mom, I was PTA mom every year. I was in that classroom. I was there all the way. I drove to and from college for 2 years till finally I say, girl, you got to get yourself a license. But that was part of our lives. That's how we talked about school things. That's how we dealt with social pressures and issues, was driving her. And it was a blessing. But we don't have that. Right now, we have children that are driving off to school at 15 years old, 16 years old. They're offering money. Mommy and daddy's like, oh, great, I don't have to drive them anymore. Yeah, you've unleashed the world on them. Great. Mm-hmm. But did you do anything in those 15 years to protect them from the world? No, you haven't. And that's my concern today, Donna. My concern today is, what if something does happen? And it will. And it will, one way or the other, something, because evil is here. Evil is waiting for an opening. That's all. It's just waiting. It doesn't stop. It doesn't go away. But we do know that there is one in the world that is greater than the one on the earth. And the more I understand that, the more I really understand that. And that's why I think you and I have been put in positions to expose it, to just expose and to stand up for truth. And you've been very blessed, not only to sit in the chair you're in, but you got Phil behind you. You're a team. That's a blessing. Father says, when two or more are gathered, I am present. And that's all we have to do. And I've been doing this radio thing, Donna, since 2004. And I would sit here going, is this thing on? Is anybody listening to me? But the thing is I just kept learning perseverance and patience and just researching and learning. And that's what you and I did. We come to the table, at least we know what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. And
Victoria, we've got to go into a commercial break.
Yes, but we also have to talk about Kennedy.
We got to talk about that. Okay, we'll be back in just a few minutes. Everybody hang in there.
Twin City Used Car Sales has been serving drivers in the Northeast Alabama area for years with a quality selection of late model used cars, SUVs, and pickup trucks. On top of our extensive selection and competitive prices, we offer professional auto financing services for used car buyers of all credit levels. Whether you've just begun your search or you're ready to secure your next vehicle, at Twin City Used Car Sales, you will drive away with the vehicle of your dreams. The sales and finance staff at Twin City Used Car Sales looks forward to serving you, and you can apply for financing online before your visit to our used dealership in Gadsden, Alabama. Check us out on the web at twincityusedcars.com or go by our location at 901 First Avenue, Gadsden, Alabama. We sincerely look forward to serving you. At at Lamone's Mexican Restaurant, located in Henniger, Alabama, and voted Best Mexican Restaurant of DeKalb County, Alabama 2020. We're here to serve you with authentic Mexican cuisine. Order easily online by going to lamonsmex.com or call 256-657-3999 to place your order. We're open Sunday through Thursday, 11 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Friday and Saturday, 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Whether you're celebrating a cozy date night for two or a celebration for a crowd, at Lamone's you'll love our atmosphere and friendly servers. Thank you for dining with Lamone's Mexican Restaurant.
Are you ready?
We all wonder what tomorrow will bring, but the future lays itself at the feet of the prepared and surrenders to the will of the persistent. It's not easy, but today shapes you so you can shape tomorrow. With Northeast Alabama Community College, when the future asks if you're ready, you can answer.
Yes.
Begin your future at Northeast Alabama Community College.
The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain-fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. At Liberty Bank, we're all about community, whether it's to help with a charity fundraiser or help families in need. Toys at Christmas or a local football team, we're here for you. You see, we realize the importance of family. Sometimes it's to build a new home or necessary home repairs. We're here for you. If you like the feel of a small town bank with all the conveniences of a big city bank, we're here to serve you. You will find us at any of our convenient locations in DeKalb, Marshall, Etowah, and Blount counties in North Alabama. You can call and speak with any of our friendly staff at 256-659-2175 or check us out on the web at libertybankal.com. And thank you for your support of our community. Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Good afternoon. We're back. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show, where truth absolutely matters. You can find us on television, channel 182, Charter Communications, Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Don't forget the radio. You can find us on icradio.media, where we are Fox News affiliates, and very important, you can also find us on the podcast, the Newscasters.com. It's the Newscasters studio, and you see the brainchild right here behind the Newscaster studio, and her name is Victoria Lee Scott. Victoria Lee Scott and I are good friends, and we're like across the country from each other. We're still buds.
That's right. That's what it's about.
Yeah, and knowledge is power. You know, Victoria, a lot of people who are my age and older, I'm older than you are, but a lot of people are my age and older say, well, let the young people fend for themselves. I can't do that. I just can't. You and I will be survivors, okay? Because we've been through like weird stuff in life, and we've had to just grab our own self and the nape of the neck and just go on with something and make it happen. But like you keep saying, there's a couple of generations of people who they didn't have to go through anything bad. Mom and dad helped them. Yeah, okay. When Brad and Larissa, my son and daughter-in-law, got married, Brad had bought a mobile home. And so what he was doing was renting the mobile home out to the other boys he went to college with. And so that paid for his mobile home and it paid for him to go to college. And so he rented this mobile home out. I think there was like 4 of them. Of course, it looked like Animal House. I mean, it was just terrible when you'd walk inside it, you know what it looked like. And so anyway, Brad and Larissa are getting married. Well, Brad moved the guys out. And of course, they were all graduating from college anyway. But anyway, the guys were all out. So Larissa's family did not want Larissa living in a mobile home. And so Brad said, well, I don't want to go in debt. But what happened is they lived in this big mega house, beautiful, beautiful house. I mean, I don't have any square feet it was, right in Raleigh. Very well off people and everything else. And so Brad and Larissa came to me and they were both kind of crying. And I thought, oh no, they're breaking up right before I thought they were breaking up or something, wanted to tell me. And so I said, well, what's up? And she said, Mom wants us to buy a house and we don't want to buy a house. We want to save money because they got married. They've been married now for 15 years, but it was during the Obama days when the economy was just horrid. And Brad did not want to buy a house and go in debt with Obama being the president. He said, we could lose everything we've got, but we got this mobile home. And of course we cleaned it up. And so anyway, it was cleaned up and everything else. And he said, we don't want to buy a house yet. And I said, I'm not telling you what to do, but I will say this. It's your life. You need to do what you guys want to do. And I'm glad that now they think Brad is the financial genius of the family, because within 10 years, he did go ahead and buy a townhouse after they saved up money, paid cash for it. Get that. But they knew they would have to do without things because that's the way we raised them. Right. You don't pay for anything until you can buy it, not until you can pay cash for it.
Right. Well, here was my wake-up call. About 10 years ago, when the salon was over here on Ocean Boulevard, and I had a high military guy was my client. And he used to put the rockets, the satellites, when they first started going, he was putting the satellites. That was his job at the equator, to shoot the satellites. Mm-hmm. And I remember Todd sitting in my chair and telling me just what you just said. Let the next generation figure it out. Because at the time, I was talking a lot more political. Now I've learned so much, but then I was so excited trying to wake everybody up 10 years ago. So he said to me, they'll figure it out. And I said, you think so? I said, Tori, come here. My 22-year-old assistant. I said, hi, did you have fun this weekend? She says, yes. What did you do? She says, I was down on Horny Corner, 4th of July. Horny Corner is the beach. And I said, yeah, 4th of July? She says, yeah. And I said, Independence Day? She said, yeah. And I said, who are we independent from? And she went. And I looked at Todd and I went, that's the reason right there. Do you understand what I'm talking about? And he looked at me and apologized because I said, do not tell me they'll figure it out. We haven't educated them enough. We educated them on all the wrong crap. I am sorry. I don't care how many likes you can get. And back to what you were saying about people on social media. Okay. My audience is going to hate me, but I never look at comments.
Let me tell you this. I
say what I have to say, and I don't care. I don't care. If somebody really wanted to challenge me, well, then they would do it right. I'm not going to challenge somebody on social media. You don't like what I said? Fine, then don't read what I said. I am not looking. I don't care. I don't care how many likes. I don't care. And that's the truth. I said what I had to say.
Call next. It means move on.
That's exactly. And I put I put it out there. If you have something interesting, other than that, I'm not feeding in. And even what this guy was saying, and it was funny because he's sitting and goes, well, when you're on social media and then somebody will post something and you'll go a little under the belt and then they'll go under the belt. I said, let me stop you right there. I ain't going under anybody's belt. I said, number one, if you think that I go on social media to get in any sort of confrontation with anybody, that's not my job. I said, that's not what I do. My job is to get 250,000 people to do what I do here on this news show. That's my job. My job is to give everybody a voice to do what they. But my point is that we're sitting here trying, like you said, and that's what sparked this whole thing in me, that we'll leave it to another generation. And we can. And let's go where a generation has just changed. Something you and I could almost go, oh, really? We have watched the Kennedy family throughout our lifetime to be a very strong American democratic political family from grandfather, great-grandfather, all the way down the road. We watched 2 of the brothers be assassinated in front of our eyes. We watched another one just skate through life on murder criminal charges, and then we'll just put him in Congress to shut him up. I mean, seriously. And then we watch another generation of them, and we watch John Jr. being taken out. And no sooner was he taken out and Hillary Clinton got his seat. Excuse me, ding, ding here. Mm-hmm. So my point is, I wanted to bring this up on the show, that it's very refreshing. It really is to me. It has restored a little bit of belief. I've always liked Kennedy Jr. I've always liked what he said. There are some things, like everybody else. But the point that he chose to do what he did is not about disrespecting anything. It is about him respecting himself. Mm-hmm. And people in this country should take it as an example to their lives. Sit, like I told you, and ask yourself, do your research. We cannot listen to propaganda anymore. There is a hole in your bucket, Delilah. And we, the American people, are going to sit there and it's going to be empty. And we can't allow that to happen.
No, truth has to matter. Truth has to come out.
It has
to. So let me ask you a question. Okay, so we've got, now with Kennedy, I couldn't figure out why he chose the VP choice he had. That blew my mind. But anyway, I know I think he tried to go and kiss and make up with the Democrats because he was raised one. That's all the Kennedys have ever been. And do you think they regret brushing him off now?
100%. Because they just thought he was going to stay as an independent, and they didn't think he would ever go with Trump, is what they thought. I mean, they really didn't. That's how arrogant they are. Bottom line, this is pure arrogance. And they're starting to see it. And the next one is going to take a downfall, mark my words, is going to be Mr. Adam Schiff. He's coming next. There's a hole in his bucket. And there are things that we're going to start seeing about with this whole thing. And that's what has to happen, Donna. Mm-hmm. I'm not sitting here, and I don't want to go after anybody that's wrong. But our country is broken. We have a border from our vice president czar, who now tells us she's not a czar. We have a president. We literally watched them do a coup. I don't give a crap what anybody says. I know what I saw. I know what they've done. And then you sit here. I've been reporting on this and talking about this since 2004. I've watched what they've done. I'm not new to this game. And the next one's going to pop her little head up soon. It's going to be Susan Rice. Because she got her dirty little fingers in that pie all over the place. She's one of the operators up there. And that's what they're doing. That whole thing with the Democrat, that it just was ridiculous. It just was ridiculous to come out and try to rebrand her.
What did you think of the convention? Did you watch it?
I watched it here and there. I couldn't listen to her continue. I had to get away because I couldn't listen to the live.
I couldn't do it. I was just like, my head's going to explode.
I thought her husband was a complete utter moron the way he came out. Yeah. The Mr. Kamala, whoever, I don't even know what his name is, okay? And then the ridiculous Mr. AWOLs. As far as I'm concerned, AWOLs. That's how I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. It makes my head hurt to even think about him.
And
there are so many things he did during the COVID lockdown that they should be throwing. Everybody should. And he's not sorry.
That's why we have to keep doing what we're doing, Donna, because we've witnessed how the mainstream media can change the dialogue and can remove content. And it can just, especially with AI now, we are in a dangerous, dangerous time. I would hope that on election day, wait a minute, I would hope that on election day that all of the internet would go down and you had to get to your nearest poll to vote.
Okay. I'm going to disagree.
That's it.
No,
just like
I'm going to disagree with you on AI. I disagree with you 110. Let me tell you why. Okay, all of the green screens and everything that they have, and it's like people with two heads. But I mean, it's just like, 3 arms and all this kind of stuff. If that's the best AI can do, I'm not a bit afraid. Is that the best they can do? They want to manufacture and act like she has all these crowds at the airport. They want to act like she has all these crowds who are advanced that she has. She doesn't. If people would just open their eyes and look.
Well, did you ever see them? Did you ever see them turn and scan the audience? Not once. Not a once. I'm like, turn that camera. I want to see who's there. Turn that camera. Ain't nobody turning that camera.
But here's the point. When they do, it's like a scrolling one picture. It's the same people.
Yeah.
It's the same. There's one on there where there's a woman setting up. There's 4 of her. It's the same woman. And what they've done is they put, she's got a hat on one. It's the same. Right. It's a woman in 1, 2, 3, 4 spots.
And Donna, we've come to a point where the only thing that matters is the truth, because it's the one thing that doesn't matter right now. So we the American people, have to make the truth what we stand for, bottom line. And that's why I really don't fear what I'm doing, Donna. Are they going to come after me? Hell yeah. The world's come after me since I was 6 years old. I mean, the world has always come after me. No big deal. My point is that I'm not afraid of them anymore. I mean, I'm not. I mean, it's serious. When you can stand in a store and have 30 cents and say, all right, how am I going to eat dinner? What are they going to take from me? Where are they going to put me? What are you going to do with me? I mean, seriously, at this point, do I want any of that? No. But I am not going to sit here with ridiculous people when I'm watching. And every time I look at the Democratic people, I try to say, all right, let me be objective here. No, they're idiots. No, they're idiots. One after the other. They're just, how could we, because like the Roman Empire, we allowed ourselves to be distracted, and we allowed the bad guys to come in. Soros came in with his money and started pushing all the bad, and just kept moving them to the top and kept moving them to the top. And now we have a lot of jobs, but we have incompetent people in those jobs. That's the problem.
I wouldn't hire any of those people in my business. No way.
Not a single one.
No, because you know why? Because I actually want to make a profit. I don't want to go backward. And I mean, you can't run a business like the government is run, for goodness sakes.
Because nobody wants to work hard.
Election time is coming up. Okay. What's going to happen? I mean, are we even going to have an election? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm really up in the air about this, but whatever's going to be, it's what this country needs. I really wish it would be a soft landing. I pray for a soft landing. But you want to know something? You've got to give my president, Donald Trump, a lot of credit. I mean, he is all over trying to tell every American, no, he's not perfect. But you want to know something? I've owned my business this year for 30 years. The only time my business walked away with money and I felt the noose come off my neck was the 4 years out of 30 years under Mr. Trump, okay? I'm a businesswoman. I watched Obama with his rules and restrictions literally hang me. Then I watched the next administration shut me down. No, I know what Mr. Trump can do, and I am a New Yorker. And bottom line is, you kick me once, I'll say, all right. You kick me twice, I'll say, hey, please stop. You kick me a third time, you're going to get exactly what you're going to get. And that's Donald Trump. And I'm sorry, but you're not getting that from him on the first round. But you kick him a few times, and I'm telling you, you are going to get exactly what you deserve. And this country needs a good dose of reality.
We got about 6 minutes left in this segment. Okay, so there's a debate coming up between Trump and cackling Kamala. How do you think the debate is going to, are we even going to have one? Because I'm going to tell you, she won't even answer any questions.
Well, that's what's so crazy to me. What's so crazy to me is my spirit tells me, Donna, that she ain't going to make it, Kamala. That they haven't pulled the bait and switch yet. I feel, and I always have, like I told you, I feel the bait and switch. That whole act between Michelle and Obama, I don't know. I really don't have an answer, but I'm telling you, in my spirit, I think they're going to push her out just as fast as they pushed old Joe out. I think they're using her right now to abide time, because I don't think the timing is ready for their next move. But it will be, because we're getting close. It will be. We still got September and October to go.
Mhm.
Let no crisis go to waste. Remember those
And
words?
that's a long time in politics.
It's a long time in politics. That's why they're still quiet and keeping Kamala out there, because they need to bide more time. The American people should really wake up. We are not stupid. We were raised on the values and on the foundations of this country. And I'm sorry that I have to call on those in my age group who want to retire, who feels like they can just set off in some sunny beach right now, but that's not it. We were given the best that this world had to offer, and we took advantage of it. We have a responsibility to those coming after us. These next generations are unknowledgeable. They have no wisdom. And they have nowhere to turn. They don't even have each other. They have each other in a technology sense. But what good is that friend 3,000 miles away when there's no internet? Who is that child going to depend on? That's my point. We better interest in our families, in those around us. That's what we must invest in. We must take the time to bring ourselves back together again. Because it's never... I'm watching old timers, dementia. Well, yeah, you keep splitting up families and keep letting people out of your life. When you need those memories at 90 years old, you got blank space because, I don't know, my second husband's third mother, I don't know who she was, whose kids, I don't know, I left them 20 years ago. Yeah, and now when you're 90, when you need all of those memories, you got what? You got a blank slate.
Well, don't you think COVID was a test run on that?
We ain't even begun with COVID. You know my feelings on COVID. My child's on home dialysis every night because of COVID and their little vaccine. And we're not done with them yet, because I'm telling you that monkeypox or mpox that they're pushing now. How many people did they just push that are now down from the DNC, the convention? They said it spread there. Now they're going to push that down. They're going to try to lock us down. But the problem is, Donna, the majority of American people are not going to bite on that hook again. We're just not. And the problem being there is, where do people vent their grievances now? In the streets. And what happened? The mayoral level across this country is destroyed, and they can't handle civil unrest. And it'll be the perfect opportunity to enact martial law. And there'll be no vote. That is my greatest fear. That is my greatest fear, that they are going to take over and they're going to just take it right out. Remember, we were once told they were going to take America without firing a shot. So
that was a famous quote.
Yeah,
It was and very many famous quotes for that. Victoria,
exactly.
We got to go. We got to go. How can folks find our podcast?
We can go to the newscasters.com. Everybody's up there. We've got now, Donna, your show is doing fantastic. I love seeing your sports, and I'm on your date night. I don't know if you've ever seen, like, when do I go in the drawing?
I've seen when you promised to fly out here and stay with us on the farm.
Next trip, I'm coming to Alabama with Murray. Next trip, I'm telling you. I got to wait for the temperature to cool down a bit, okay? That southern weather ain't for me. I live on the beach here.
Yeah,
but I want to thank you. So the newscasters.com, and check out. We've got a lot of good, strong voices, and just go and click listen to there. The insights are our blogs if anybody has anything they want to post. And we also have put up, we're also available on Apple, Android, and Google. And also we have the news feed. So if somebody just has some information and they want to get it out there, I can put it in the news feed no matter what it is. Just email me at victoria@thenewscasters.com.
There you go. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you.
Till next month.
And thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Donna, and I'm your host of Donna's Edge Talk Show. You can find us on television, channel 182, Charter Communications, Abundance Television, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You can also find us on the radio at iacradio.media, all the social media sites, and the Newscasters studio. You can find the podcast there. Again, thank you so much for watching. Victoria, hang around. I need to get you in for next month.
Fantastic.
Bye, everybody.